Prince William proves his PR prowess by dodging a slightly awkward question.
And welcome to hell, Prince Harry. You're officially keeping up with the Kardashians. Hello and welcome to Heirs and Spares, your go-to for insight and opinion on two of the most talked about royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from sunny California.
And I'm Rupert Bell, and I'm in a rather damp UK, but there's been plenty of action as far as the Prince and Princess of Wales has been concerned over the last 7 days.
Isn't that the truth? As a royal watcher, I feel like I've been so lucky to see so much of Prince William and Catherine over the last few weeks. But one of the topics that I specifically pulled, because I thought it was such an excellent example of how clever and insightful Prince William is when it comes to PR and how to, put an interviewer or an MC in their place to divert attention onto back what you're there to accomplish, was this moment that he had at COP 30. So he's talking to a CNN journalist, and they specifically ask, a question regarding changes within the family, clearly hinting at Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, clearly hinting at the chaos surrounding Harry and Meghan. And so the MC says that there's a lot of change in your own family recently. And William just elegantly guides the interviewer back to Earthshot, saying, I think the Earthshot prize is a classic example of change. Rather than talk about it, we're doing it. That's where I want it to be. These people in here are the true action heroes of all time, and change will come by backing them, not by what I do. He's humble too. So handsome. He says, I want to surround myself with people who want to make change and do good in the world. Rupert, like, slow clap. I mean, what a great way to just shoot down that question and take it to another level, because that's a great soundbite. Like, not only did he kill the question, but he gave the media the soundbite they were going to use.
Well, yes, it was a sort of very good politician's answer, actually. Move it away from the difficulty. Now, the person doing the interview, she's no mug. Christiana Amanpour is one of the respected CNN journalists, been around for a long time. Obviously, it would have been approved that she was going to do the interview because, let's be honest, everything was pretty stage managed during his week in Brazil. And it's certainly something he had to navigate his way through because, let's be honest, it's not everybody, the COP summit and the Earthshot not everybody agrees, although I think everybody agrees with the sentiment. The politics of the week are something that the Prince William is having to navigate. And indeed, I've been asked about that and how he has to navigate the environmental issues and not being seen overtly political. But it's very hard when you've got the British Prime Minister there not to sort of be seen to be a bit political. But I did like the way he was able to deflect it and actually go straight away and saying, these are the people that I'm passionate about. The audience, those are the ones I care about. I am exercised by making sure that we leave a legacy for the young people in this room. My children, he alludes to. So actually, an easy way to make sure that he doesn't even, and there was nothing that he could be seen to be slightly misconstrued as a reference to his family. He immediately turned it back onto what he's there to do, which was to promote not only Earthshot, but be part of the COP summit as well. And it was a political summit. Let's be honest. That's so for the Prince William.
Hey, am I misremembering when I believe that Rishi Sunak suggested King Charles not go to this the first year Rishi Sunak was prime minister because it could be deemed too political?
There was definitely some movement within that, and I think it was to go to the UAE, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you.
I made the timeline, but I definitely know there was talk. Because also with the king, it is slightly different because obviously he had a strong environmental message before. And once he became king, it would then become very difficult for him he has to look completely apolitical. And that's going to be something that Prince William is going to have to navigate his way through when he ascends to the throne. Because the whole point of the royal family, yes, we have the soft power element, and that was part of the week as well in Brazil, and the good that the royal family can do in that respect. But the politics, that's where he can get himself in hot water if he seemed to be going too far down one particular sort of agenda that might be seen to be a bit of a political hot potato. And environmental issues are a political hot potato in this country with regards to net zero.
Well,
So
same here. Unfortunately, it's sad that it can't be a bipartisan situation where everybody just wants to leave the earth better than they found it. I
I,
have a friend that's involved in the fight for the environment. And he's like, just because I show up here doesn't mean I support this person. I'm trying to get us all to come together because we should all be concerned about making the world a better place. And of course, as a whale lover, I can jump on that bandwagon with my
yeah.
whales and dolphins. I hate to go here so soon, but what do you expect from me? It's such
Mm.
a wonderful, charming contrast from Prince William to say it's not about me. It's about these people that are really making a difference. They're the superheroes versus somebody like Andrew Mountbatten or Prince Harry who puff their chests out and at every opportunity, not necessarily completely comparable. But when Harry sat down with Hoda Kotb and said he wanted the Queen to be surrounded by the right people, he was trying to make himself sound more important than he was, or sound like he had more power than he had at that point, where William is saying, it's not about me. And I can't do this alone. I need this room. I need the people that we acknowledge at Earthshot. I need the people that are here at COP trying to make a difference. It's nice to see that humility.
I think he does know that he's got to be seen to be, it's not the story. He sees himself as a facilitator and using his position to bring in sponsorship, to bring in people who will help fund it. And that's, I think, his primary role is to make sure he believes in it. As we know, there are a couple of things that he's absolutely passionate about: the homelessness issue in this country and the earthshot and the environment are his two big cause célèbres, the big things that he wants to be involved in. But he's also got to make sure that, yes, I think everyone's heart is, yes, we want to make sure the environment's right. But his problem is to make sure that he doesn't get used as a political football. And that is a
Very good
really
point.
big thing. And when you see, let's be honest, there were some political leaders there, and then there weren't people from India, China, or America there. It then becomes, you see where this is a big political hot potato. So the Prince William has got to make sure that he's sitting finely balanced, but still, I think the primary concern, if he sticks to Earthshot, he's onto a winner. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I
So
do.
getting dragged into some of these big showpiece political occasions, which sometimes just turn into talking heads, then that's the sort of thing that we know probably annoys him because he doesn't want to be a talking head. He wants to have an impact on something that he's doing. And the Earthshot Prize is a simple manifestation where nobody is going to say those are bad initiatives. For instance, yesterday I was at my football club. I know I annoy listeners when I talk about
No, they
Aston
love
Villa,
it.
but
They love it. Tell
yeah,
us all about
yeah,
your
yeah.
football
Well,
club,
well,
Rupert.
well, no, we won, and Prince William will be happy. We won, played very well actually. But more importantly, I was eating out of something. My chips and curry sauce were in some recyclable packaging that
The Prince
William has
William
engineered.
facilitated. Yeah.
It was Prince William facilitated, made out of seaweed, I think. Now, it's surely this product gets properly tested by chips and curry sauce, which is a traditional. I don't know whether the dear viewers have, particularly. I don't know whether in America chips and curry sauce is a thing, but it is in this country at football. I don't think you probably find it at NFL and other such moments, but the packaging was tested It didn't completely stand the test of time, but I ate them so quickly that the packaging hadn't completely
Collapsed.
disintegrated. But
Yeah.
I'm happy that that's the sort of initiative that obviously can have an impact, that the packaging is better. And we have to say the Earthshot intention is extremely honourable and must be seen, I think, as completely apolitical. And that is easier for the William to navigate. Once he gets dragged in alongside prime ministers and all that, then you're in a bit of a political murky area for members of the royal family. And I, I, I'm not thinking that he made a mess of it or did anything wrong, but it's something that he's going to have to be aware of, just as the king has had to be aware of. So this is the modern Prince William, but he's going to say, right, I've got to learn. And every time he did review it and say, where's the balance? I think it was fine this week, but long term, things like COP and the environmental issues seem to be accelerating the sort of political hot potato between who thinks what's causing it and what's going on. And it's a bit of a mess. But overall, Kinsey, I have to say, it was a good week for him. It was a good week for George. And it was a good week for the Princess of Wales.
Well, tell us about George. Where did we see Prince George with Catherine, the Princess of Wales? What was the event?
Royal Albert Hall, which is, they always have a sort of remembrance, which is a bit of a TV occasion, but it's at the Royal Albert Hall and servicemen. And it was hosted by Hannah Waddingham, who's Ted Lasso.
And she's involved in Earthshot, yeah.
Yeah, and she's a great supporter of the royal family. She was the hostess. Rod Stewart was singing Sailing, even though he's 80, but he's a great institution. Well, I know he's an institution wherever he goes.
Everywhere.
So Rod Stewart, and then all the service, personnel, marching bands, and all that. And it was, but great to see George there, because obviously this is something he's now 12, and it's something that seemed a no-brainer to bring him along. He just has to sit, look good, be with his mum, and away you go. Dad wasn't there at that because I think he was travelling back. And of course, he turned up on the next day for the cenotaph laying in the heart of London, which is again the national celebration, always on the Sunday before Remembrance Day, which is the 11th, of course, the official marking of it. William was there, the King, and various other members from the balcony. There seemed to be debate about the poppies. The 3 poppies and Catherine wearing 1 poppy. But I'm trying to read it. So some history about the Queen used to wear 5 to remember 5 members of her family. So there's some significance, but it seemed like the Princess of Wales had 1 large one, rather than the others who were wearing something slightly different.
I thought that the Princess of Wales, let me see here. I thought that she was honoring specifically
members of her family.
Her grandfather, Peter Middleton, who was a military pilot who served in World War II. I thought that was the significance of her poppy.
Yeah, so there becomes significant parts. But actually, it looked good. But you suddenly, when royal watching, suddenly it becomes, you're almost looking for every nuance. And sometimes it gets just overcomplicated.
Oh my gosh. All of the headlines about Queen Camilla looking at Catherine and saying, oh, wow. I was like, I can't believe I clicked because they were like, what this lip reader says, Camilla says to Kate on the balcony. And I'm like, what? Is everything okay? And so I click on it and it just says, oh, wow. And I'm like, really? That's worth multiple articles?
Well, let's be honest. People analyze, what they're wearing is all part of the shtick, isn't it, of royal watchers. You don't get me doing it because because I think we're going to be talking about Kardashians in a minute. And, you threw me a couple of weeks back and I'm still recovering from the shock. So let's be honest. Watching the royals is part of what is from a fashion perspective. And that's the pressure on the royal family, is what they look like at all times. Yeah. And for Princess of Wales, it's highlighted even more. You sort of get with the Princess Royal, she's in Australia at the moment, it'll be a no-nonsense approach. She won't try and go off piste. She'll just wear what she's comfortable with. It's the same with Queen Camilla.
Mhm.
She's not going to suddenly be turning herself. She'll want, as a woman, as both women in their 70s, things that just no nonsense, get on it, look good, kick on. Right?
When I saw her 2 weeks ago, I couldn't believe how petite and cute she was. I She was very
Uh,
petite and very cute, Queen Camilla.
oh, look, she's fully aware of what she's got to do. But it's not when you, let's be honest, when you get into your 70s, you just have to say, well, nature's doing its thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You
I
know,
think she looks great. She looks great. I think she looks
yeah.
good and healthy. And
Oh no, she's doing a magnificent job. Um, Princess Royal is, as we
a
speak, down in Australia.
machine.
Yeah, I mean, she is out there and she will do her thing and just get on with it. But for the Princess of Wales, every visit is a fashion statement. So we probably have to know who designed the coat, who designed or jewelry, mention reference
She
to
was wearing
something.
Diana's earrings. Yeah. Ball drop
Yeah,
earrings.
all this. So it becomes there's an element of freak show about it, which
There is,
I
but
feel,
I thought it was I'm skipping here. I thought it was so important to see even the outfits because the outfits said class. Um,
oh,
the outfit said pensive, thoughtful, true respect for not only patriotism, but the deceased, patriotism in general,
mm,
but the deceased. And within 10 hours, there's
mm.
Harry and Meghan chasing after the Kardashians. I mean, I know it feels silly to talk about, but in contrast, you just see what the Sussexes have been reduced to in comparison.
It's chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Um, it is, poles apart. They're chasing celebrity, turning up at a sort of invite,
Do you
through
think
PR.
that the gift bags at Kris Kardashian's birthday party had the pube panties in them? Do you think there are two pairs of pube panties sitting in
Uh,
Harry and Meghan's Montecito
can
house?
we not? We are not going to, because I blush at the thought of these horrible things. That this is unfair, young Kinsey, to be making reference to. Well, if they were, it's quite a yeah, weird. But you never know.
Okay,
But
let
it
me
wasn't.
get us back on track.
It,
Let me get us back
yeah,
on track. We'll stay in the Harry and Meghan realm with a
yeah.
little bit of
Can I?
Prince.
Can I just want to go. The other thing I was reading about today, and I haven't clocked it all, but talk of Prince William talking about how they basically confronted the children and said, they said warts and all discussions with the children about their mother's condition.
Mhm.
And I think, that's refreshing to hear because that gives people to say it's not something you're embarrassed about. Now, how you deal with a child who is 6 and one who's 11, that's a big age difference. So you've got to, it still is quite hard to comprehend. And, I don't know how good I'd be at doing that. But if they've done that, again, that's a very good thing and probably good thing to put out because sometimes it's better to talk about these things, be honest, maybe not going into all the medical details, but the implications, so that at least the children understand that mum's not great, but fingers crossed, everything's going to be all right.
It
But it's
also
not.
makes us more empathetic and compassionate
Um,
about the time that the period where they disappeared. Because not only does Catherine tell us we haven't told the children yet, please bear with us. We hadn't told the children yet, and that's why we didn't tell you. We were prioritizing them. But if that is the conversation that was had, that was incredibly heavy. And yes, that family deserves some privacy to process that information.
Absolutely. And I have to say, their children, we've seen the videos from last year and all these things that all make it look as if they've managed it pretty well.
Mm.
And if Catherine now is coming out the other side, and obviously we will see more of her because obviously there will be her. We have not that anything's come out in the press yet, but we'll probably get details about, I assume, the Carol concert that will be taking place at Westminster
Well,
Abbey and
it'll
all these
probably
sort of.
happening around the same time Meghan
Well, yeah.
Markle releases her Netflix series because that's what Meghan Markle does every
Oh,
single time.
hang on, hang on. I think I know the date, and it tends to be around about the first week of December. Oh
Convenient that
my
Meghan's releasing her. Oh,
God.
she is just
God,
the
here we.
tackiest.
Oh, God, more on that later. Now, I'm,
Yeah,
I'm trying to do the good news first.
yeah, yeah. Good for you.
Anyway, I have to tell you another story. We slightly digress. The other day, I was with Andrew Lowney at the Stratford Book Festival, the Stratford upon Avon Book Festival. But I went along to go and support Andrew. And I have to say that there was, what, I think 300 people in the audience. And amazingly, I got stopped again. This woman came, I had my wife with me at the time, and this woman then came up to me, and I'm sorry if you are a regular watcher, and I can't remember your name, but she'd been to Stratford the night before to watch a bit of Shakespeare. And she thought, well, she's obviously watched us. Anyway, she comes up to me, and she seems to know more about me than my wife did. My wife was sitting next to me at the time going, oh, God, he's been recognised. Oh, God. Anyway,
What did she
I
say
just
to
thought I'd.
you?
Well, she told me, oh, and she said, well, I know you've been in Spain and you're with Kinsey and you were in a pub last week. I mean, everything coming out, which was
So
okay,
sweet. So
so
sweet.
sweet, really nice. But I was discombobulated, just as my poor wife was sitting there, with her thinking, oh, God, he's been
Oh my
recognised.
God, I married a movie star.
Yeah, but the reality, I've been making the bed this morning. It's all right. I've been doing my house chores. Anyway, I
Yeah.
always like to bring a bit of Bell life to the proceedings, but actually giving it an Andrew Lowney. And actually, I will tell you, the audience, it was fascinating. There was 300 people in the audience, and I'll tell you what, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor hasn't got a friend.
Ooh.
As it was, and Andrew was actually incredibly, I think you've done stuff with Andrew, who's obviously written a book, and let's see the paperback for the updated version because I think that's going to be interesting. But anyway, there's a royal link there, wasn't there? So
Yeah.
it was a royal link, but this
Well,
poor
and
woman
well, that's a great segue because it's Andrew Loney that is the source here for our next story. Hey, Unfiltered fam, some breaking news right off the top. Beam's cyber sale is now live for our listeners, and it's their best offer of the year, but only for 48 hours. Right now, friends of the show get up to 50% off, and with my code Kinsey, you can grab Dream for just $32.50. That breaks down to only $1.08 per night for the best sleep of your life. Go to shopbeam.com/Kinsey. Use my code Kinsey and don't miss out. This is the lowest price Dream has ever been sold anywhere and will likely sell out quickly. Dream is packed with ingredients your body actually needs to sleep: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and yes, melatonin, but dosed intelligently, not like the drugstore garbage that knocks you out and leaves you groggy. So now's the time. Beam is giving our community the ultimate royal discount. Go to shopbeam.com/Kinsey, use code Kinsey, and get up to 50% off during Beam's cyber sale. You can grab Dream for just $32.50, but here's the catch. Dream is only available at best price until it sells out. And can I just tell you, their cinnamon cocoa flavor is like Christmas in a cup. You're welcome. So seriously, think about it. How much would you pay for a truly great night's sleep? With Beam's cyber price, it's just $1.08 per night. Now back to the show. Coming from NewsNation, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle to lose their titles. Prince William done. Paula Froelich talks to Andrew Loney for this piece, where she reports one of Prince William's first tasks will be to strip the Duke and Duchess titles from his brother and sister-in-law, as well as the Prince and Princess titles from the entire family. Despite not wanting to be part of the monarchy, Harry and Meghan made sure to have Archie and Lily designated as a prince and princess in March 2023. It is unlikely William will ever willingly be in the same room again with Harry, except perhaps at Charles's deathbed and possibly funeral. William may ban Harry from the funeral. I don't think William would ban his brother from the funeral. That's where I say I'm going to step in and be like,
Yeah.
I doubt it. Harry was never this spoiled before marrying Meghan. He was never this bitter. He understood what the ground rules were. This is all a new person we've seen since he married Meghan. An insider tells NewsNation Harry is now unrecognizable. Um, Rio just talking about how Harry and Meghan kind of had a little PR blitz while William was trying to promote Earthshot. And this is a conversation you and I have basically religiously at this point. The Sussexes interrupting the
Yeah.
Wales's coverage. This entire debacle was insane, a source said. He sent his people to England to smooth over relations, and then stomps on William's most important event of the year. Diary clashes never used to happen. The source insists the incident was deliberate. Harry is a spoiled brat and wants the attention. He is very jealous of William. He's not getting good guidance and he looks miserable all the time. William is done. Uh, yeah, obviously, the only thing I disagree with is the fact that William would say no to the funeral. I don't believe that to be true.
I don't believe that to be true. I mean, Andrew Lanny is extremely well sourced, as we know, and he it was quite interesting at this lecture that he gave. He said since the book's come out, prior to that, he was actually saying, and this was actually the interesting bit, it was like people were as reticent before to really go full tilt with the stories. But he's actually fine now. He's sort of, it's like a dam bursting. And it's quite interesting, the dynamic. And for William, it is interesting that trip to Canada. You see, it's a balancing act, that one, because it's doing what he loves, which is service people, but he's having to go to Canada. I assume, and
Where
they
his
say
father's
that
king.
indeed, um, he is a ex-serviceman, and I will always honour Harry's commitment as personally as an ex-serviceman. He's an ex-serviceman, and he served with distinction and was an important, uh, army would define his life. It's sadly since that time, the rudderless Harry has been allowed to make one misstep after another misstep. And while I applaud the sentiment of supporting Canadian ex-servicemen, it just, given it's not an outlier, this is a regular occurrence that there is a PR blitz against whenever William is out on his front line. So Harry finds a way and he says, look, they've invictus and it's an easy sort of why I went there. But it's trying to do this quasi-royal tour rubbish.
That the
You're
Queen has
not,
said no to. The Queen said
no,
absolutely not. No half in, no half out. And you're
yeah,
in the
and this,
country that your father represents as king. I think that that's inappropriate. Let's just give some backstory real quick. He visited
yeah,
Sunnybrook. And what was interesting was everybody that has a family member at Sunnybrook, these are veterans that served, they were sent an email telling them that Prince Harry was coming and no one was allowed to visit their people that were in. And I'm just like, if I'm paying you a ridiculous amount of money to ensure the health and safety of my veteran, then you're not going to tell me I can't show up because Prince Harry needs a PR prop in the form of my relative to win over the hearts of Canada or whoever. But Sunnybrook operates the largest veterans care facility in the country. Harry talks to CTV and said he enjoyed speaking with the veterans and joking with them. He says, for me, it's the banter, it's the humor, it's the community they are given here. That's exactly, I mean, he just literally rips off his own essay that he wrote about being
oh,
British. He can't even come up with an original soundbite. He said that for me, it's really an opportunity for me to show my appreciation to them, especially this week of all weeks, referencing Remembrance Day. My aunt's been here, my grandmother's been here, my great grandmother's been here. So he's definitely trying to still, he's trying to show us that proximity to the royal family. And I think in referencing the Queen, he's also trying to make it look like a royal engagement.
I'm afraid that was the problem when he was over here in Britain. Those great that he supports well child and he goes and sees these things. But it's what the royal family do. They go to things. So what does it look like? It looks like a royal visit. Now, I know he's supposed to have made donations, and I don't know the exact sums, to various organizations through various things that he's got. So again, some good is coming out of that. But it's just we would have known William was going to, well, I think I knew about him going to Brazil, presumably 12 months ago.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they would
It
have
was announced a year ago. Yeah. A long time ago. Yeah.
So,
And don't forget, Harry's team released a statement saying that they weren't trying to upstage William, and that the reason that they released the information about his Canadian trip when they did was because Harry doesn't get the same security as other working members of the royal family.
Don't get me started on that.
I'm gonna get your engines ready.
Well, you see, you're like a slow burn, Kinsey. You start with the soft, easy ones, and then you just get me going on Harry and Meghan. Now, the other thing that really annoyed me was the British banter article.
Go, tell me.
Because yes, we know the fun of the British banter. Self-deprecating, taking the mickey out of everybody. That is part of being. When we're out with our friends, we all want to lampoon each other, and that sort of camaraderie through humour is part of the British way of life. But didn't it just sound like I'm missing it?
Yeah.
To me, the underwriting thing about that article is I'm missing it.
I'm stuck in Oprah hell.
And let's be honest. Look, you shoot me down with a feather if you want, but it's a different vibe in California with your mates.
I mean, I wouldn't try to spend as much time over there as I do if it weren't better.
Yeah, well, look, banter, self-deprecating, taking the mick, that's what we do. And we have to. Because we ain't got much else going on. So we might as well take the mickey out ourselves and being around our friends. And that's what good friends are about. And that is British banter, the camaraderie of the mess, officers' mess, which he's missing. And that is the sad thing about that article. It's actually saying, you read between the lines, he's missing it.
Yeah, and we know that Meghan is such a control freak and a perfectionist. So if it's true what you're saying, that his previous environment was so lighthearted and was able to be a free spirit over there, then he probably feels miserable sometimes.
But, well, okay, you may disagree or not agree with, shooting is part of the country life here and the royal family's life. Well, by all accounts, and so he'd have his mates around, and this is in the early days when she was over here, they'd organise a shooting party, and what I'd heard is, and I think it's common knowledge, all the friends said, oh my God, what a killjoy. Mm-hmm. Okay, which is probably not the most appropriate word when you're talking about you're out there shooting pheasants, but she just did not enter into it and just didn't, because she saw him having fun. Meanwhile, and she's out of it, and she was not the center of attention.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Go ahead.
And then he's lost all his friends because he wants to be with his friends and have banter and have fun and games. At the same time, she's no longer the focus of his attention, and she can't cope with that unless I'm prove me wrong.
And that's why he spent his 40th birthday without her. He was without her on his 40th birthday.
Where was he?
Skiing with friends.
Yeah.
I think that I agree that he's missing the UK, but with the Canadian trip and with that essay, I felt like the objective was solely to change public perception. He's trying to win back
Yeah.
all of these people that he lost. But it was hard for me to sit there and watch him with elderly people, loving on elderly people,
Mm.
veterans, knowing how cruel he was towards Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, veterans, towards the end of their lives.
Well,
I'm going to have a hard, I don't care how many strangers I see you sitting painting poppies next to. I'm not going to forgive the way you treated Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth in their twilight years.
well, I'm not. And this is the point. This is the hypocrisy. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity to see the error of his ways. It's no different from Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And my goodness me, what's that letter from the Republic of the Congress? The starkness of his fall from grace. Dear Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Wow. For a man who loved his title. And when you look at Harry, he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to work out how stupid he looks at times and the hypocrisy of his actions, because he's convinced by his rightness. And he thinks by going to Canada, and it's a Commonwealth country, and I absolutely, and I get all that, and I'm a great advocate of the Commonwealth. Some of the good work it does. It gives Britain a degree of credibility on the international stage in these confused and troubled times. But actually, for Harry, it's once again, we're trying too hard. And we're desperate because he's completely rudderless. He doesn't know what to do. What Meghan may be okay. It's a scattergun approach, but 1 minute she's turning up in a film set playing herself. God give me strength. In a film that is a low budget rom-com that may not see the light of day in a cinema, unless you're hearing something wrong, and this is going to be one of the great rom-com sleepers that turn into a hit, which I somehow,
Which would
premise
still
sounds
not
pretty.
be on your watch list, but it would be on your wife's next to The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Uh, mm, uh, I'll
I
have
can
to.
bet you, I bet you $1 million that your wife likes Lily Collins because I love Lily Collins.
I,
Does she watch
yeah.
Emily in Paris?
Oh, didn't like it. It
She
got
didn't.
cliched. No, it got cliched.
Well, your wife is a
Let's
woman,
be.
like a woman of the world, so she might
Yeah,
think
but
it is a little
yeah,
annoying.
but I mean, let's be honest. Emily in Paris, it is a bit naff, and
I
because
watch
they
it for
they
the I
turn.
watch it for the hot chef. I don't care who knows. That's the plot for me, the hot chef.
And does she get the hot chef?
No, because there's all these other guys. Like, just chill out. Will they, won't
Okay,
they? I'm
well, no,
tired of it. I'm tired
but
of it,
they turned
Rupert.
it. There was Emily in Paris was just a feature film, which they then rewrote the story to turn it into a miniseries, didn't they? Have I got it
It
wrong?
was a mini series to begin with, but remember when Harry and Meghan pitched Emily in Paris, but for a guy? And Netflix was like, no, it already exists. And if we were going to do that, we would just give it to the Emily in Paris team.
Well, I will have to check out. God, I feel like a complete cultural no-name, moron who doesn't.
What
Lily Collins, a name we.
you're getting recognized in public, Rupert. Have some respect for yourself.
Well, I've got a basic worry about. I need to check out Lily Collins's oof. Okay, let's be honest.
No, what you're
That
saying
show,
is right. It's going to be a straight to streamer, and
yeah.
it's, two Nepo babies are starring in it: Jack Quaid, Dennis Quaid, and Meg Ryan's son, and Lily Collins, Phil Collins' daughter. I mean, it's not necessarily the recipe for success. I understand what you're saying, and it's a hard for us to stomach that leak, when the leak coming from Meghan's team is that she was swamped with offers, and yet this was the one
Oh,
that won her over, especially when she's had a deal with Netflix for the last 5 years. Why would you not make that big first cameo as yourself in a Netflix series or a Netflix TV, movie? You're just biting the hand that feeds you by running over to Amazon.
I'm sorry, and also you're playing yourself. It's a bit like Donald Trump was in Home Alone.
It's a bit like Fergie playing Fergie on Friends as Fergie when the cast of
Yeah,
Friends went to
exactly.
London.
Exactly. I mean, it's to use that phrase again, which I occasionally like to use. It's I just need to give the editor something to do. To put the bleep button in. You just go, why are you playing yourself? I mean, if you're an actress, what's that about? And why suddenly have we got Meghan appearing? What's she going to be doing? Just having tea with them or something?
Yeah.
And probably some product placement. There'll be some as ever honey
Hmm.
because this thing's going to be as syrupy as heck. And anyway, look, the trouble is, we still will watch it for that appearance.
I mean, I like Lily Collins and Jack Quaid. I wish I could
Yeah.
boycott, but I will have to do it for my job. True or false, incognito mode makes you invisible on the internet. The answer is actually false. Most people have no idea, but your browsing history can still be monitored and even recorded unless you use today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN reroutes your internet traffic through a secure encrypted tunnel, protecting your data from hackers, advertisers, even your internet service provider. Depending on where you live, ISPs can actually be required to log your activity or even worse, legally sell your browsing history. ExpressVPN makes sure that just doesn't happen. It also lets you change your online location so you can access geo-locked content on streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney Plus, and BBC iPlayer. With servers in over 100 countries, you can unlock thousands of new shows and movies from around the globe. Setup is simple, just one click to connect, and it works across all your devices, phones, laptops, tablets, even smart TVs. Speeds are blazing fast, so you can stream in HD with zero buffering. I've used ExpressVPN while traveling, and it gave me real peace. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/Kinsey to get up to 4 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Kinsey. Now back to the show. You've given me another great segue here
Yeah.
with Meghan Markle playing herself. All of the other celebrities that have played themselves. One is Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian played herself in a lot of different TV shows and movies. Tyler Perry, Lily's godfather, gave Kim one of her first shots at a scripted piece where I believe she played a secretary or something in a Tyler Perry movie. So again, I've said it 1,000 times. I think Meghan is trying to work with the Kardashians. I think she wants to work with the Kardashians. I feel like she's following in the Kardashians' footsteps. And hello to the Express and the Daily Mail, who did not print my opinion piece about this years ago that Meghan would be trying to get in with the Kardashians. Hello, hello. I'm just want to remind you that I said it first. So
Yeah.
we spot them at Kris Jenner's birthday party over the weekend. Harry wearing his poppy, Meghan claiming poppies aren't that accessible here in the United States, to which I would say, like Amazon, $8.99 can be at your house in 24 hours. Um, the Kardashians are famous because of a sex tape. We've talked about the fanny panties. The fact that Harry and Meghan have escaped a life working under Prince William, who's trying to save the planet, and King Charles, who has dedicated most of his life to trying to save the planet and peace all over the world. All of a sudden Trump's changed his tune on Ukraine after one afternoon with Charles.
Mm.
I can't believe they gave up that life to chase after the Kardashians. It's thoroughly disappointing to me.
It's tacky. It's as simple as that. The Kardashians, look, you can't fault what they did. They tapped into some zeitgeist and took sort of reality TV. Were they the first real breakout TV stars? I may be wrong, but it feels like they were.
Yeah.
The
And
MTV,
around the same time as the Osbournes. Yeah.
yeah, and they were the two vying. Osborne's, obviously another Aston Villa man, played his last concert at Villa Park two
Aw.
weeks before he died. It's a really sad, and it was like that was a big moment, and it was almost like for
Maybe he
Ozzy,
knew.
I, sometimes we're going off piste here, but it was almost like I've had this moment playing in front of my faithful back in Birmingham, and then 2 weeks later, one of the great rock icons very peacefully just slips away. Heartbreaking for the family. I think Jack's about to appear in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here UK version. Coming up over Christmas when they all go out to Australia. But well, so the Kardashians have always been a freak show, as far as I'm concerned, tapping into a sort of zeitgeist, and you can't fault them.
No.
But they are a reality
You know, I worked
TV
with them. Like I know I'm
did
being
you?
critical of them,
Oh,
but I've worked
sorry.
with them. I did a show with them. I threw a party for them in Cabo San Lucas. So like when people see me criticize them, I'm criticizing them because I've worked with them and it was a nightmare. But it was
Okay,
fun.
tell me more. Tell me more.
I threw a party for them in Cabo San Lucas and I would show up
Why?
to
Why?
because
Is that yeah?
the show was about throwing parties, and so I wanted to do the show because I wanted to be an entertainment reporter for E, and that's where the show was. That the show was on E.
Yeah.
So, and E had me come back for several years to do specials about celebrities with them. So, they were very obnoxious. They knew exactly what they were doing. I'd show up to have a meeting with them about important details, and Chloe would pick Courtney up and toss her in the pool. I mean, you're right. It's chaos. This family's
Yeah.
chaos. Um, yeah, I've worked with them. I've done TV with them, but having had that experience with them and having an experience with the royal family, I'd say I would choose the royal family over the Kardashians any day, not just because of morals and values, but because the Kardashians stand for nothing but themselves, and the royal family stands on helping out people, the
Yeah.
people around them. They stand for something so much more and so much deeper. And so to see Harry and Meghan chasing after them and after abandoning the queen and what she stood for. Also, can I just make the point that the Kardashians have been selling secrets about their own family to the media for years. If you look at TMZ over the last 48 hours, it's Kris Jenner's birthday, Kylie Jenner's cat, and Kim Kardashian's failed bar exam. That family has the media on speed dial. They are not trustworthy. And it's interesting to me how Harry finds no fault in their cooperative relationship with the media. But when he claims his family does the same thing or the firm, it's suddenly unforgivable.
Well, look, I mean, I would have thought Meghan, she's got the media on speed dial, hasn't she? Or People Magazine or one or two of the others.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here we go. Suddenly flashbulbs popping when they turn up to this, you know, party. You know, where's the class in turning up to someone's 70th birthday, which is fine. I'm heading there. I will in a few years' time. And where's the class? And it's basically PR people saying, come along to this party. Bit like the Meghan and Harry wedding, because there were people turning up there, celebrities turning up to that, who didn't really know Meghan and Harry, but
And
she
like, no,
wanted
did
to.
not know. We did
Yeah,
not know. I mean,
yeah.
George Clooney said, I have never met Meghan Markle.
So, okay, he would have met members of the royal family. There's no two ways about it. And, and his wife, an important, figure in her own right. So that just proves that she wanted celebrity stardust to make her look like she was a celebrity big shot on
Mm-hmm.
her big day. And going to something which basically is a bit of an entertainment freak show. Correct? This
Yeah.
70th birthday, wouldn't it be? In
Yeah.
America, you've just summed it up. It's all a bit mad. And you sort of have to sort of see what the heck's going on here. And then they want to turn up to that. Harry, in a million years, probably thought a few years ago, do I want to turn up to celebrity TV family's 70th birthday party of Kris Jenner? I mean, give me a break.
I don't know if I believed it at the time, but there was when I was in London for the king's coronation, there were stories circulating that Kim Kardashian had tried to get an invite to that event. And I don't know if I still don't know if I believe it, but it's a little it's funny to me that Diana rejected Oprah Winfrey and chose to do Panorama instead of Oprah, but Oprah's
Well,
big
don't talk
get.
about
No, I know,
panorama. Oh, hey,
But
hey, hey.
Oprah's big get was
Yeah.
Harry, as you know, that was her consolation prize, which means she'll never get William. But if Kim Kardashian was really rejected from the coronation of King Charles, then again the
No, I don't think
the
she would have got
leftovers
any.
are Harry and
She
Meghan.
wouldn't. She wouldn't have even got anywhere near the acceptance because there were a lot of people who couldn't go, and because when the Queen got crowned, they crammed I don't know how many people in, but that was the days before health and safety.
Mm-hmm.
And health and safety then appeared in 2000 and what was it? 20, help me out here, 22. Anyway, whenever the coronation was,
Well, also there was that
they,
tug of war between the crown and the government because King Charles
yeah,
was aware of the heater eat drama. He was aware of what was going on financially for everyone, and he was afraid of putting on a big show. And the government was desperate for him to put on a big show because they thought
hmm.
the attention on the country would be more valuable than King Charles trying to be humble in this moment.
If you look at the scale of the military operation back then, we had national service in the Queen's coronation, so they had a ready-made army just ready to appear and service personnel. Actually, one of the problems was for the coronation. We have a much reduced armed forces. Is actually and one of the reasons we somehow had to manage the personnel. I remember talking to someone who was doing the military planning, and he was saying, the street lining, they really opened up the gap. Whereas if you look at the coronation in 52 or 53, whenever it was, they're practically standing like that.
Mm.
Whereas, because we are a much reduced, so therefore it was, and the king didn't want to necessarily put the service overstretch them. It was fantastic. But for Kim Kardashian, she wouldn't even been given, it might have been she wanted, but there would have been a no against her name before anything else because they didn't want it to be, and the king would not want it to be because it's a religious ceremony.
Yeah.
It's not a
Sacred.
celebrity fest. It's
Yes.
sacred. It's a moment in time. It's something special passed down through history. The symbolism of the occasion. It's not a celebrity freak show. Now, her wedding, Meghan's wedding, that is, she wanted to turn it into a reality TV show.
Yes, Reese Witherspoon turned her down and said, "I don't know you. I don't know why I would come to your wedding." Like,
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah,
she said that
it's
publicly. She said, I was invited, but I didn't go because I don't know them."
well, that makes perfect sense. Why should you go? And this is the problem. So therefore, it appears now that Meghan will turn up for an opening of a bar of soap. I mean anything. She just will turn up because she's what 1 minute we're seeing in a local bookstore hijacking someone's date, and that's a big occasion. It is so desperate.
Did you see the story about how that store, Godmother's, is now carrying as ever products and they had wine? So they had some of Megan's wine in there, and people are reporting Godmother's for not having a liquor license and selling Megan's wine.
Well, I
Wait,
hadn't heard that, but
well,
that's why you're in California with the finger on the cutting edge of the news agenda. If she hasn't got a license, then or the book, I'm afraid they've messed up and it's not right, because American liquor laws are quite complicated, if I'm not
right.
mistaken.
They are,
You
yeah.
know,
I have one last question for you. As an Aston Villa fan, as somebody that is committed to a team, you're incredibly loyal, you're incredibly passionate. Did you watch Prince Harry's apology about wearing the Dodgers cap in Canada, and did you buy it? And does his ability to, just go, "Oh, I'll never do it again," just
uh,
that disloyalty in general, kind of reflect on his personality entirely?
well, big deal. He's wearing a baseball cap. You're at the game, you put on a cap. I mean, I wouldn't, in my
Oh,
office.
really? You didn't think that that was poor optics considering the fact that he was about to be in Canada the next few
Ah,
weeks.
well, look, it was.
William would have never done it. William would have never
Well,
done
look,
it.
I mean, I wearing a baseball cap is something I'm not particularly good at. I mean, I've got a row of them just up there. If you wanted me to get a few, and I'll try them on for
But
the
you look
viewers,
nice
and
in a
you.
top hat. I've seen
Well,
that.
I haven't got that around, but that's upstairs. But look, I think it actually the more the optics of that going to the World Series stuff was actually how did he get a front row seat and why?
He says that the owner gave it to him, and that's why he wore an LA Dodgers cap. That's what he said
Oh,
in his apology. He said he was under duress, that the owner had given him. Well, he says here, I'll give you the exact quote. Firstly, I would like to apologize to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box by the dugout by the owner himself. So I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do. But I'm going to wear this Blue Jays hat from now on to make sure I don't make any more of those
oh,
mistakes. And people were also annoyed because there are so many pictures of Meghan Markle in a Blue Jays cap from when she lived in Canada. So it did feel like they were,
oh.
there are no principles here. You just there's no loyalty. You go where the opportunity is, which is just classic Harry and Meghan.
I am I'm an Aston Villa fan, right? As you know, I would not go if I'm going to Manchester United and suddenly the big cheese of Manchester United invites me. I will not ever wear anything other than my team's hat. Or, I don't wear football shirts and memorabilia, so it's not something I own. But I can assure you, me putting on a Manchester United hat is not on my bucket list. It's not happening. And if I was in America, I would put on my. I've been to the Boston Celtics. I've been to the Red Sox. I haven't been to the Patriots, but due to loyalty for my wife, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't suddenly go and I do actually, the Patriots having a great season as far as I can work out. We're 7-2 or something like that. Anyway, I that's the extent. But you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would not. I would wear the team I support. I'd be making a joke about it and actually saying, "Sorry, mate, can't wear this. Uh, I'm a Toronto fan because
Mm-hmm.
of my wife or something." It just make it did look like opportunism, but you're probably overplaying it. But to say you're under duress, oh, give me a break, Harry. You
Right.
know, grow some kahunas. You know, yes, it's lovely you get a great invitation, you get a front row seat, but baseball, do you know what they're doing? Do you
Right.
understand the game? You know, you know, um, I've actually presented baseball in this country, but back about 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So I sort of understand the game, but
Well, he was
yeah.
cheering on the Dodgers too. Like it wasn't like he was throwing his hands up when um it wasn't like he was throwing his hands up when the Blue Jays were winning or when they scored a point.
Well,
Because the Blue Jays did win that game and everybody said that Harry and Meghan jinxed the
well, I don't,
Dodgers.
look, it is what it is. You can overanalyze it, and of course, it's fodder. But at the end of the day, I would suggest, think of the optics. But actually, this is a small microcosm. But actually, the bigger picture is Harry and Meghan think of the optics and just work out what the heck you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. What a nice little way to end
Yeah,
this
well,
episode. So wise.
yeah.
You're so wise.
Well, not many people think that, particularly who's there's trouble and strife the other side of the door, But
Well,
anyway,
at least she
uh,
knows you're a star. Now she's seen you
well, no, well,
recognized.
no, she is still trying to get over the fact that this dear viewer who accosted me in Stratford upon Avon the other day, but it was very charming of her, and she was a lovely lady. But I'm sorry, like the other lady who accosted me on the plane, I can't remember your name. But if you are a viewer,
And
please
Rupert
let me know who you
Rupert
are.
uses the word accosts in a loving fashion. In
Yeah,
a
yeah,
loving
okay,
way.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Agree with this, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Rupert, thanks so much for your time today and giving me an expert's guide to sports etiquette.
Well, probably not. But anyway, look forward to catching up. I think next week we may be back on. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it won't be another quiet weekend as far as the royal. But it's just been a one glass show.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will talk to you again very soon. Thanks, Rupert.